Yo, what's up, people? Today I'm going to be doing the video that's in the title, but I just now decided that my intro is going to be me writing my name Ikor, and I just now decided my intro is going to be me writing my name Ikor exclamation point. So, if you read the title, today we're going to be doing Prowlers Claw versus Essence Reaver, and while doing this, we can see we're not going to be taking into account the gold difference because it's only 100. And the reason I really am curious about this is due to the I play Rengar, so I'm curious about the difference between these two items. Currently in this video, I do not factor in the critical strike chance, but if you wanted to, let me just check this real quick. If you want to factor in the critical strike chance, it's actually really easy. I might do it, actually, at the end of this video. So, that being said, I'll move this tab to the side, and we maybe, if I feel like doing it, I'll do it. So, starting off, we see they both have 55 AD. Prowlers gives 5 less ability haste, but that doesn't really matter. And then next we see that Prowler's Claw does 85. I'm only doing melee damage values on this video. If you want to do range, I have a link to all my graphs in a Google Doc that I will link at the description of this video, and you'll be able to just plug in the numbers you want and just change the formula slightly if you want to do ranged. That being said, I will just do melee. So Prowler's Claw does 85 base damage for melee and scales with 45% bonus AD. And then Essence Reaver scales with 40% bonus AD. They both apply on an auto, so even though this says 100% base AD, this says on hit, which is the exact same thing. So they're equivalent in that way. So starting off with this graph, we can see the one-time proc value of each item. One proc of Prowler's Claw with 55 AD does 109 damage versus no armor. One proc of Essence Reaver with 55 AD does 22. So we can go all the way to 405. We can see Prowler's Claw on one proc basis versus no armor is doing, was this roughly 1.7 times damage, 1.6, somewhere between there. And yeah, next graph I have here is a graph of the average damage value. So if you were going to activate this every single time it's up, which isn't really realistic, but for the sake of this video, I will include this graph. So here at 55 damage, we can actually see they have the exact same damage output if you buy either one of these first items. If you're activating it every single time it's up, it's doing the exact same base damage versus 0 armor targets. Here we can also see that if I go to 405 AD, which is, I just picked 405 because it's a realistic AD value that you might end up if you build either of these items. We can see that Essence Reaver ends up doing a little bit over 3 times as much damage than Prowler's Claw if you're activating it every single time it's up. Okay, now since Prowler's Claw gives lethality, I figured why not factor that into the situation? So I went to the little wiki for armor, figured out how armor's calculated or used the formula, and then here we can see a little bit of more complicated graph for the armor of things. We see this is the base value of armor. This is the base value of armor minus lethality. Sorry, this graph's actually kind of useless. I'll just delete that. Anyway, here we can see the base value of lethality on Prowler's Claw. And this is the base value of base value of any lethality. So that's why I included this graph specifically in the, sorry, let me turn the music down. So I include this graph in the description as well, and if you ever just want to know how much lethality will change your... If you guys didn't know, lethality actually scales with level. So this is... T is your level. Let's say level 18 for the sake of this. And then Z is your raw damage output. So it's going to be hard to calculate, but let's just say you read your ability and it does 400 damage. So level 18, 400 damage, 15 lethality. It will be doing... Sorry. And versus a 50 armor target, it'll be doing 296.296 damage. So, sorry, I got a little jumbled in my words there. Let's try and organize this a little bit to maybe simplify it so it doesn't sound so overwhelming. So we have Z, which is your raw damage output. When you hover over your ability, it says it does this much damage, or when you auto with this much AD, it says it does this much damage. So 400 AD. Or 400 AD will be 400 damage raw on your autos. And then X equals your armor. So for the sake of this video, I just did 50. Every champ has different base armors, but you can plug in any number here that you want to try out and just test how it works in the formulas. So L is for lethality. It is, sorry, maybe I should just do A. It's too late now, in my opinion. I don't want to change all that. But X is armor, L is lethality. For the sake of this video, it'll be 15, which is why these two graphs match up. But you can see, if you can adjust it all the way. I let it go to 70, but you can change that. You can see lethality does actually... Oh, wait, and... Yes, lethality... As lethality goes up, your damage goes up, obviously. So 70 lethality with 40 AD at level 18 does 500 damage. This is also because your... Sorry. This is because it is a little overwhelming for me. I didn't write a script or anything for this. I'm just trying to talk and keep it flowing. What is happening here is this, like... Okay, yeah. Sorry. It does 5... I just thought that number was weird, but it just turns out it's 500 at 70 lethality. So you can just plug in lethality, you can plug in the level scaling. As level goes down, lethality, armor pen goes down, does less damage. Or it has less value. So let's apply these calculations to the two damage outputs. Here we can see X is armor again, T is level again, and Z is your raw damage, or your AD. So if you have this much AD, this is going to be how much damage these items are doing for you. So let's say 55 AD versus 50 armor, and even at level 1, Prowler's Claw does 63.5 more damage than Essence Reaper. So that's pretty insane. But let's go all the way to level 18, and let's even increase the amount of AD we have. We can go all the way to 215 AD. We can see Prowler's Claw does 66 and 64 and 64.3 more damage than Essence Reaper. So even then, and then if you increase the armor, they'll actually get closer, which it's just due to the dwindling numbers, but as you can see, since we have lethality on this item, it'll always do more damage than Essence Reaper. It's not possible for it to do less. So, yeah. Next graph is going to be the combination of the average damage and the um armor, sorry. So here we can see the same numbers, but just with the divisible by 10 because it's on a 10-second cooldown for Prowlers and a 2-second cooldown for Essence Reaver. So here we see 55 AD because that's how much they both give, 50 armor because that's a baseline stat, and then the lethality per level, which isn't really that important to be honest with this, but it does actually change, so this might be helpful for the people who want to see for themselves, like if they use the graphs that I link in this video description. But here we see something a little bit more interesting. We'll go with level... If you buy both of these items first, you'll probably be at like level 9-ish. So at level 9, 55 AD, which is what you'll have. We can see that versus 50 armor. We can see they both do not much damage because the person has 50 armor, and this is just bonus damage. You see it only does 0.6 more on Prowler's Claw, pretty much. So that's not much, but let's bump up the AD. As you see, when we move the AD up, Essence Reaver average damage output keeps going above Prowler's Claw. So let's go to maybe 185 and level 13. So this is probably 2 items and a component, and level 13 sounds about right. And let's say now you're hitting people with 60 armor. Here we see Prowler's Claw doing 11 damage and Essence Reaver doing 23 on average. So if you're activating it multiple times per fight, it's gonna be even more valuable. We can even see if you're activating 2 Essence Reaver. Let's just, for the sake of it, do 2 Essence Reaver procs in a fight. As Z goes up, eventually Essence Reaver will be doing more average damage output than Prowler's Claw. So, this being said, as the later the game goes on, Essence Reaver will be more valuable than Prowler's Claw, but it will never outscale it in a 1 point of damage instance. So, to simplify the way of saying that, I believe that Essence Reaver always outscales Prowler's Claw. Prowler's Claw is a mid-game item. Even with lethality, it doesn't catch up, by the way, even level 18 lethality. So, Essence Reaver will always do more damage than Prowler's Claw, even if it's on a way longer cooldown. So, what we can take away from this is Prowler's Claw does do more against armor. Sorry, I didn't include that, but I mean, no one's going to be getting to this high of armor. Maybe a realistic high amount of armor would be 230, but at this point, neither of these items are really doing much. And it's still lower on average, but it catches up. Anyway, what we can see here is that Prowler's Claw is kind of a burst damage item because it does more in one instance. While Essence Reaver is also a burst damage item, but a little bit more of a sustained damage item. So, Prowler's Claw will always do the most damage in one instance, and Essence Reaver will always do the most damage. Well, not always, but will almost always do the most damage in an elongated fight. So, my takeaway for this is Essence Reaver is better almost, I'd say 60 to 70% of games. It's 100 gold cheaper, which doesn't really matter. It gives more CDR, which does matter, and the slow on Prowlers isn't that important. And as I show here, even with the lethality being factored in, it doesn't really change anything. So, basically, Essence Reaver is a better item if you're gonna go for 2 or 3 autos, so maybe if you plan on killing someone quickly, but not super quickly, aka long enough to get 2 procs off, which is 2 seconds. If they live longer than 2 seconds and you get another Essence Reaver proc off, it will always do better later game. So, as long as you aren't completely one-shotting someone, I say always build Essence Reaver over Prowler's Claw. And I decide that it's not really worth factoring in critical strike chance because 20% is unreliable anyway, and Essence Reaver already is a better late game item than Prowler's Claw, so it doesn't matter. Obviously, if you do crit an auto, it will do more in one instance, but the chance of this happening is like 1 in 5, so it's just not a reliable thing to bet on, but yeah. So, quick instant assassination, Prowler's Claw is better. 2-second or longer assassination is better for Essence Reaver. Sorry for just repeating myself and kind of jumbling my speech. This is the first kind of really math-centric topic I've ever I've ever talked about on my channel, and I hope this kind of clears up any confusion you guys had about Prowler's Claw and Essence Reaver, and if you have any questions in the comments, just ask it, and I'll try my best to respond to everyone. That being said, there will be the links in the description, and thanks for watching.